Uh, I can share the frameworks that I had.
Mm-hmm.
I'll share it on the group. I'll name all the frameworks because as
Sure.
such there was no single material that I
Mm-hmm.
had. I'll share all the frameworks that I was studying from.
Okay, that would be great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no issues. Anytime. What are you guys doing except the preparation?
Waiting for the calls.
They'll
Same.
start, I think, from mid of January, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
ma'am.
mid of January.
Nice. You have time to prepare right now. I had my first interview, I think, on 16th of January. 16th or 19th of January. I am Rohtak.
लास्ट ईयर 22 को मेरा था रोहतक का.
Yeah. Yeah. I had it around 16. I had it before 20. That was the first interview I had.
Right.
And don't stress out a lot because as and when you start giving interviews, you'll get to know a lot about the questions that they are asking. So most of my preparation that I did was during the interviews itself. So I was lucky that my CAP interview was after around 5 interviews that I had already given. So I had been gotten a good chance to understand, and I had experience of 1 year before also.
Yashi, in this case, I don't have a time within interviews because I have just one interview. So how should I do that? Like my
Same
first is
for
my
us as
only
well. We
first is my
only are
Okay.
only
expecting for the cap calls.
Okay. So with CAP calls, it would be most probably in late.
First
Uh,
week of March, I think.
no, they'll start after 15th of February. Last year they started after
Okay.
15th of February. Most probably it will be the same this year.
Hmm.
And what you can do is keep on preparing, like whatever things I told you. If you cover all those things, it will be more than enough. It was a very broad spectrum. If you are through it, that'll be it. And just be confident during your interviews and practice interviews with each other if you want. So that will be easier. You can have each other to question you on different topics. You can study one thing and then take each other's interview. You can have GT practice of your own. So that will be, I think, it. Just practice for interviews if possible with anybody. Anybody you have a mentor. If you have a mentor, practice with them. If you have somebody else, practice with them. If you guys need my help, let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, anytime. Just a second, guys. How many of you guys have lived in hostels before? It'll be a great experience. Believe me, it'll be a great experience.
what was the question? Sorry, I missed.
How many of you guys have lived in hostels before?
Yes.
It's a great experience.
Ah,
And it's better
100%.
to have that before coming in MBA.
100%.
Yeah.
Because of COVID, I missed the significant part of it. That's why I want to continue that as well.
Yeah. But it's better that you already have that experience because if you have it for the first time here, it's really overwhelming initially.
Overwhelming, yeah, 100%.
Because a bad side of MBA is you'll not be allowed to go home for 6 months straight, no matter where you are.
Okay.
So, should we start? I think everybody
Yes,
is
ma'am.
here.
Yes, ma'am.
Could
Okay,
we start?
so if you guys have any questions, you can ask me. Then we'll start with the GT practice. Any questions?
Interviews बाकी थे ना मैम हमारे.
Interviews, sure, if anybody wants to give their interview, I'm okay with that as well.
Yes, ma'am.
So asked me to do the GT practice, so nothing, no issues. If anybody
Yeah.
wants to give their interview, you can.
Ma'am, I just have this one question. Whenever I don't know something or whenever I look to the interviewer, I tend to laugh. How should I control that?
Avoid.
You need to practice that a lot. You need to have a very poker face. Should not. You practice it consciously that if you know something, even when you're talking to your friends or to your parents, consciously practice that if you know something or if you're trying to cut their point or if you're trying to tell them something, don't let it come on your face. So I really had to practice for that because sir used to tell me the opposite. I had a very poker face, even if the interviewer was smiling. I did not used to react to that. So I had to convince myself to laugh sometimes, smile sometimes. So you have to balance it out that you should not be smiling too much. You should not have a very poker face also. Just a smile. If the interviewer is laughing, just smile or have a very blank face in general. Confidence is the only thing that should come through.
Yes, ma'am.
And see, a lot of time it depends on the interviewers also and what kind of interview they are taking. So one of my interviews with IIM Shillong had a very different trajectory. So obviously in those kind of questions, you end up laughing. So my question there was, they gave me a scenario. I think we can start from that. Everybody can answer me with that question. So my question, the situation that I had was, the interviewer gave me that I can ask 5 questions to the interviewer. And my situation is that I am in love with somebody. What should I do about it?
समझे नहीं मैं दोबारा से रिपीट कर दीजिए
Relate नहीं, you ask
I am
5 questions.
I am in
हाँ.
one-sided. Okay. I'm reiterating it. I am in
Hmm.
one-sided love with somebody
Hmm.
since a very long time. And to know more about the situation, you can ask me only 5 questions. And then you have to give me a creative solution. So as to what can I do to get that person? So this was my interview question during IIM Shillong, my IIM Shillong interview. So in those questions, you do end up laughing, and they also know why you are laughing. So if a question is like that, it's fine. But I think you can all answer that if you want to.
Ma'am, Nitya is not well, so she won't attend the class today.
Sorry,
Nitya is not well, so she won't attend the class today.
no issues.
So who
आपने
want
क्या
to go
दिया?
first?
Okay.
Prakhar, you can start, right?
So, first question I have to ask from the panel. Okay. First question I would ask is, how do I make her friends like me?
Okay.
That's where things could go towards my side.
Okay.
Just a minute. So the scenario was like the interviewer, like the panelist is in love with someone, and to understand about it, you can just ask him 5 questions, right? And then after
Yeah.
the 5 questions, you have to give him a creative solution.
Yeah.
Okay. So Prakhar, what was
One
the
minute,
question?
was the panelist in love or you were in love?
Exactly.
So the
Panelist.
panelist is in love with somebody, and I
And
have
we
to
have
give him
to
a
ask.
creative solution.
Okay.
I have ma'am.
ये तो
Okay.
I have few questions. I have few questions.
तू भाई गूगल कर रहा है?
नहीं भाई मेरे पास पहले स्क्रीनशॉट रखा था मेरे पास.
लव गुरु वाली बात हो गई.
नहीं भाई
हाँ.
उसका वारिको अंकुर वारिको का एक
एक काम करते हैं
स्क्रीनशॉट
ना,
था.
सब एक-एक
Question,
पूछते हैं.
and this question came from the fact that I had asked, I told them this one statement that something that is not mentioned on my resume is I am a creative person. From that, they took that word and gave me the situation. So be careful of every word that you
Okay,
are
so we
using.
have to avoid that. Yeah.
No, you don't have to avoid it. You can answer it.
Okay.
I did answer them, but they were expecting something
Let's
else.
try
But
for now ना. एक-एक क्वेश्चन करके पूछते हैं, 5 क्वेश्चन
हाँ.
देखते हैं क्या कर पाते हैं अपन.
Okay.
If can I start?
Yes, Saurav.
If you had to
Guys,
introduce me to someone.
just a second. Give me a minute.
सौरभ पोस्ट भेजियो ग्रुप में.
पहले मैं बताता हूँ तो भेजता हूँ.
भाई ये क्वेश्चन है तो मैं पहले ही चला जाऊंगा. मैं सॉरी.
Same, bhai, Subh, same इधर से.
Should be like I'm from a Bajrang Dal, you know.
ये आपने हैवी क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया.
भाई बट कसम से यार ये तो बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है. मतलब किसी को भी
भाई
देखो
ये तो कोई
तो
एक्सपेक्ट
कुछ आता नहीं है तो हंस दो. कसम से हंसी बहुत ज्यादा आती है और पता भी नहीं लगता कि हंसी क्यों आ रही है.
स्टिकी वो लगा देना यार वो स्क्रीन पे बता
अरे
दो.
मैंने
I know,
ट्राई
I
करा यार,
typed in
कुछ
my.
नहीं हुआ उससे.
Okay, yeah, continue.
Sure.
If you had to introduce me to someone completely new, what would you say about me?
How is that a question related to this case?
समझा
You
नहीं.
are
Just to
giving me a
summarize, ma'am is
solution.
in love.
I am asking you guys. Okay, I am asking you guys. I am in love with somebody. How should I get that person? Give me a creative solution.
by asking 5 questions.
Yeah, you can ask only 5 questions to know more about the situation.
Who is going to start?
भाई तुम करो स्टार्ट.
Most
मैं देख
exciting.
रहा हूँ कोई बोले फिर उससे रिलेटेड बोल लूंगा.
Was there any
try.
fear inside you regard
Rhythm,
us?
blink the eyes.
एक मिनट
Blink the
सौरभ
eyes
को
for
बोलने
the
देते हैं. सौरभ बोल.
Sorry?
No,
Was
first
there
question. I have the first
Just
question.
just a minute, Saurav is saying something. He was saying
Yeah.
it from before. Yeah.
was there a fear inside you regarding us that you do not have tell anyone? इससे पता चल जाएगा थोड़ा philosophical way में थोड़ा.
भाई तो हिंदी में पूछ ले, मेरे को तो क्वेश्चन समझ में नहीं आया.
हाँ, मतलब because I have to
ऐसा
tell you more about the situation. I am not the person you have to convince to fall in love with somebody. You have to ask more about the situation.
Google पे गलत क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया है कि how
भाई तो
to
गलत पोस्ट पे चला गया भाई.
वो it's a truth
Google
dare
पे
question.
गलत
ये
We
वो
can
सम्मोहित
get back
वाले
to
जो
this
क्वेश्चंस
case.
आते हैं ना, ये वो पूछ रहा है.
It's a truth dare question. We get back to the
Okay,
case.
can I ask the
Okay.
question?
Yeah, Harshita, you can ask.
Is there somebody else also involved?
That's a very good question. The panelist told me to ask this exact question the first thing.
Good question.
So yeah, so according to my case, the situation was the panelist said that the person he was in love with was already married to somebody else. So the case is already closed there.
Is
So
she
that was a
happy?
very good first question. That question would have told the creativity of the entire case, that is she creative or not, by knowing the facts first.
My first creative solution would be to move on.
I gave the
Yes,
same
it is a
solution.
very terrible choice to love somebody who is already committed to somebody else.
Yeah,
So you should ask that is she happy or not?
yeah. That's also a good question. I had
सेकंड
similar
वुड बी
questions.
बुरा
Is she
सपना था,
happy
भूल
or
जाओ.
not? If she's happy, move on.
तो जेनरिक नहीं है, क्रिएटिव नहीं लग रहा मेरे को ये.
That's a very creative question. She's trying to know the facts first to tell a creative solution. They don't want a solution from you. They
Solution
just want a
creative होना है,
creative
question
question.
creative होने की जरूरत नहीं है,
Yeah,
right?
they have
Question
to.
could be
You
a
have to
basic
give them
one.
a yeah.
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 जब
You have to
creative
give them a
questions
creative.
पूछेंगे तब तो creative जवाब आएंगे.
So they would not wait for you to give them a solution. If you are asking questions like this, which are factual based, like trying is in all these situations, try to know the facts first. The first
Facts
approach should be
question
try to know all the facts first in
Yes,
any
these
kind of
questions tell
case.
the facts.
आई एम थिंकिंग
In any
हर्षिता ने
kind of
ये
case,
पूछा, अगर मैं
sir,
शुभ और वो क्या नाम है पंकज होता तो पता नहीं हम क्या ही पूछते.
it happens. उस moment में you don't realize a lot of things.
नहीं, पहली चीज यही क्लियर करनी होती है ना कि पहले कोई तीसरा इंसान है कि नहीं.
ट्रायंगल तो नहीं है
Very
चीज
कोई.
smart
पहले
move.
क्लियर कर देते हैं.
Smart move.
So what is your answer to that? Let's continue this now.
No, it's not a very big
No?
thing to discuss. It was just that my point of this case was to tell that if you are getting a case, then go for facts first. Ask them the facts, basic facts. Don't give them solution or try to ask questions that involve getting to know the facts. एकदम basic level पे. Okay, so
सौरव ने सब कुछ गूगल से निकाल लिया था अभी, तो बोला ठीक है सेकंड थर्ड फोर्थ तो मेरा ही होगा.
So ma'am, just one question that
yeah, sure.
so were they testing you did they actually was they only messing or they actually wanted to test you like?
They were trying to, I think, take a stress interview in that situation because I had said creativity, and creativity in itself is a very broad range. So you
Yes.
should try to avoid saying it, in my opinion. But if you're saying it, have something prepared, because if you say creativity, and I used to say marketing a lot. So with marketing and
creativity.
creativity, they'll give you a product and ask you to give you a jingle in that moment or a slogan in that moment. So you have to do that many times. It's a very common thing with the creativity and market going side by side. So it's because of that. Okay, so anybody who wants to give their interview, I'll be taking 2 interviews and then we'll go with GD practice.
Yes, I ma'am.
Okay, so we can start with the conflicts. Just a minute. Yeah. So tell me about yourself.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Yashaswini. I born and brought up from Jodhpur, Rajasthan, which is also known as Blue City of Rajasthan. Recently, I graduated with a degree of commerce from Jain Narayan Vyas University, Jodhpur. And I also completed my higher and secondary education from Jodhpur. In my academics, I also participated in GK question and essay question competition and essay writing competition, and in extracurricular, I participate in my school days at a 3-day camp organized by school, which is dedicated to Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. And I also In my college days, I also voluntary for cows in Lampi virus. Apart from that, I also helping my father in our jewelry business, and I like to play cricket, and I like the gym workout. I enjoy the thrill of the game, and that's it.
Um, so since how long have you been working with your father?
From college days,
Okay, so how many years would that be?
it's 2 to 3 years now.
Okay. So, what have you learned in those 2 to 3 years? What skill have you learned in those 2 to 3 years that you would be using in a B school?
I learned, ma'am, it's customer relationship and problem solving skills.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you give me one situation where you faced failure and you tried to overcome it in that experience?
Yeah, ma'am. I face a failure in where I started to working with them. First failure when my father is not at our business and I am handling a customer, and then I am not very good at all. Then I not handle it properly, and so that failure I learned for customer relationship, and that's it.
Okay. Um, can you then why are you what is the reason for you to go for an MBA right now?
In because I want to pursue MBA because in my school days I have been a person who is always ready to participate in academics and non-academics achievements also, and I always ahead of them. And that's it. My father, my parents and teachers, I always appreciated me, and they motivated me to pursue management education. And I want to learn about the more business knowledge. And I think MBA is a perfect blend of one's knowledge in business world as well as skills ensuring like people management, time management, resource management. So I want to pursue management education.
Okay. What do you understand by marketing myopia?
Marketing myopia, I do not have any idea.
No issues. Okay. What would be your two strengths in a B school?
Peaceful, ma'am. I think I am a dedicated person, goal driven person.
Okay.
Because when I am in I am very obese and I driven a goal to lose 20 kg weight, and I set a goal and I lost around 20 kg weight in past 8 months with the balanced diet and workout. So I think I am a goal driven person and I am a positive person also.
Okay. Can you give me three indicators of economy?
Three indicators of economy. Three indicators. I think money
Okay.
and investors.
No, you are not going in the right direction.
No idea.
Okay, no issues. Um, what is an indifference curve?
Indifference curve. No idea, ma'am.
So you work with gold, right?
Yeah,
Can
ma'am.
you tell me what kind of a good diamond is considered as in economics?
Diamond. I think I'm not sure, but I think 24 carat.
No, no, no. That's the purity level. I'm asking what kind of goods. There are
What kind?
different kinds of goods in economics. What kind of good is diamond considered as?
In gold? Yeah, diamond.
Yeah, diamond.
Diamond. No, ma'am, I not idea about it.
No issues. What is snob effect?
Snob effect.
Snob effect.
Snob. I no idea about that.
Okay. Can you tell me three
Yeah,
principles
my
of account? Sorry.
yeah, ये जो snob effect है याद आ गया.
Okay.
Snob effect, it's related to bandwagon effect. It's called that in this situation, many people are using the commodities and for seeing everyone people and not using that demand is not up, demand not up because it's using in more commodity, more pulse, like use more peoples in the
You are explaining me bandwagon effect. It's different from snob effect.
bandwagon effect. It's a reverse. It's a snob effect is reverse of bandwagon effect. In bandwagon effect, ma'am, everyone using the same approach. It's called a bait chart. And in snob effect, ma'am, uh, the goods are very high in people's and no one wants to more this type of goods anymore. That's it's high in demand and so it's not in not of demand,
Okay. Okay.
not increase the demand of product.
Okay. What is bank rate? What is bank rate and what is the current bank rate?
Bank rate, bank rate, bank rate. I think it's repo rate and reverse repo rate.
No, those are different.
No, different. Not idea, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me five CMs of who have been in Rajasthan? Five chief
I'm
ministers of Rajasthan.
chief ministers. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Hiralal Sastri, Honorable Hiralal Sastri, and Srimati Vasundhara Raje, Honorable Bhajanlal Ji Sharma, and Honorable Ashok Gehlot, and Honorable Bhairav Singh Shekhawat.
Okay. Can you tell me who is the RBI governor?
RBI Governor, Honorable Shaktikanta Das.
Okay. What is the current GDP?
Current GDP, India.
Yes.
Current GDP, I don't have idea about it. Current GDP of India.
No issues. Okay. I think this will be it for the interview right now. I'll just give you the feedback.
Yes,
Firstly,
ma'am.
when I'm asking you the strengths, just
Yeah.
give the pointers. Don't go too much in depth of the examples. If you
Okay,
are
ma'am.
asked the examples, then explain the example.
Hmm.
Just give the pointers in one line, not in one word, in one line. And
Okay.
rephrase your why MBA answer as well, because just saying that your teachers convinced you to do MBA, to pursue MBA is not the right metric. You should have something that tells that there is some inner motivation coming in you to do an MBA.
Okay, ma'am.
So add one pointer related to that, that I'm a very determined person, a goal-oriented person, and my goal is to understand more about business. So I will be a good fit in MBA, something like that. Have a very prepared answer of why MBA, which considers that people convinced you to go for MBA, but you have that inner motivation as well.
Okay, ma'am.
And the failures that you mentioned, rephrase that also. Just a second.
Okay. Yeah.
Rephrase that also.
Hmm.
Because the idea was not very clear.
Hmm.
The interviewer might lose interest in that. And know economics. When you are saying you are BCom graduate, you need to know economics really well.
Yeah,
Because I
ma'am.
think it's a big part of that. And also you are working in your father's business, which is again related to gold, which adds to economy a lot. You should know a lot about economics. So
Yeah.
snob effect is, you were saying the exact opposite of what snob effect is. And when the interviewer is asking snob effect, you don't have to say it is the opposite of bandwagon. You just realize on your own that what is bandwagon and what is the reverse of it, then say the answer. And there,
Yeah.
if you need time, you can tell the interview directly as well. Can you give me 30 seconds to think of the answer? Can I take
Yeah.
some time to think of the answer? You can do that.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
if you think you know something about the answer also, it will work if you take 30 seconds to answer it. I think that would be it. Just one thing, practice more of the interview, talking more. Because I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
you were a little nervous while talking. So if
Uh,
you talk more and give more of these answers, you will be more confident about it.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you,
So
ma'am,
that,
for
no
feedback.
issues. Thank you. Harshita, would you be willing? Yeah. Okay. So can we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So tell me about yourself.
My name is Harshita Yadav. I belong to Lucknow, the city of Nawabs. I have completed my graduation in Bachelor's of Business Administration, and ever since then, I have worked in a few internships. And currently, I'm working as a accountant for B. Avasthi and Arvind Shree's Chartered Accountants. And my hobbies are reading, watching movies, and OTT, and sketching, and a bit of gardening.
Okay. So what internships have you done? What domains were in? Were those in?
I was an operations intern at Noxens for 3 months, and then I was a social media intern at an NGO called Darbanga for a month.
Okay. So as a social media intern, what were the metrics that you used? What were the KPIs that you used to understand that your ads are doing well or not? Give me any three.
There weren't much of ads. I just had to. I mean, it was a small NGO. We were just starting. It was founded in 2019, and I was an intern in 2022. So there wasn't much to do. We weren't doing much of it, but I used. It was based in Darbanga, which is in Bihar, and I live in Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow. So they used to just to send me photos and everything, and I just used to create some content on it and just post of it. I'll prepare more of this for the Darbanga thing. I will prepare of it.
Okay. So for the operations internship, what was your work? Can you tell me more about it?
I basically can we just skip this part? I mean, I have not prepared anything to say about it.
Okay. No issues. Um, you did your BBA, right? In which year did you complete your BBA?
2022.
2022. Can you tell me what is BCG matrix? I'm sorry.
I cannot recall it right now. I'm sorry.
What are Porter's five forces?
Sorry, I cannot recall it that.
Okay. What is working capital?
The day-to-day capital needed.
Okay. Can you tell me two types of expenditure that are there in business?
Capital expenditure and uh, capital expenditure. The other one I cannot remember right now.
Okay. Um, can you give me the template of uh balance sheet starting from the top?
So we have assets on one side and liabilities on the other. In the liabilities column, we have capital, which is basically where the most of the funding of the company or whatever it is there. Then uh, we have non-current liabilities, which are loans and advances from banks and everything. Then we have current liabilities, which include trade payables or debtors, trade payables and creditors, not debtors. Sorry. And then on the asset side, we have fixed assets, the assets that are used the assets that are used in the company, the fixed assets that are needed, and then we have long term investments, uh, and then we have current assets, which include bank balances and the other day to day assets that are needed for the company.
Okay. Can you tell me what is indifference curve?
I cannot recall it right now. Sorry.
Okay. What is marginal utility?
Marginal utility can be said as the marginal utility of any product is the uh, uh, cannot really frame it right now. It is the amount of no Just a minute. I need to frame the sentence. I have it in my mind.
Sure, no
Uh,
issues.
a marginal utility is a utility we get by the consumption of that one product that we have instead of through sacrificing the other product is something like that. I cannot just recall it.
No issues. Let's just skip to the other question. What is STP?
No idea. Sorry.
Okay. Who was the last Nawab of Lucknow?
Nawab Wajid Ali Shah.
Okay. And who built Bhul Bhulaiya?
I think Nawab Wajid Ali Shah.
Okay. Who was the first women chief minister of Uttar Pradesh?
Mayawati.
No.
Sorry.
Okay. Can you tell me two latest business news?
Um, the purchasing managers index has been decreasing very significantly. It was it needs to be over 50, and it had been 56 till October or November, but then it dipped again to 54 or something like that. 54 point something.
Okay. And
The other one, and uh, the right. I'm sorry, cannot recall anything right now.
okay. Can you tell me who's the vice president of India?
The Vice President of India is Praj. No, no, I cannot recall it.
Okay. Give me your two strengths and two weaknesses.
My strengths are that I tend to be creative, and I think that I have analytical skills. And my weaknesses can be that I am too fussy for the details. I tend to overthink, and most of the time build up problems in the product or some in project or something that I'm doing.
Sorry, I could not hear you at the call. Can you please repeat the weaknesses?
My weaknesses are that I am too fussy for the details of the project that I am doing, and most of the time I tend to overthink and just build up problems in it that I have been told that aren't actually there in the whatever work I'm doing in whatever aspect of life. And second thing can be that I have stage fright. I have a lot of stage fright.
Okay. So, if I give you a situation, can
Okay.
you tell me a creative line for that? Take any product that you want.
Okay.
Take any product,
What kind of product?
any category, any product, any category, and give me
Okay.
another marketing campaign or another slogan for that.
Could you specify the product?
It's your choice. You can take any product from any industry and give me one tagline that is already not being used.
Um, it would be a really help if you just give me a product, then I could just choose one thing.
Okay. So the product is um, Lay's chips. Lay's is coming out with a new flavor of their chips that is based on some regional flavor from India and
Okay.
maybe from Uttar Pradesh. Okay. Maybe,
So our
uh,
title would be
yeah.
Can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as we all know that you're from Lucknow, right? Yeah.
I'm from
So as
Kanpur.
we all know, yeah, as we all know that food of Lucknow, wherever, no matter where we go, we just miss the food of our home of our city. So I could say that they should start their campaign as if saying to all the people that have not that have left their home for work or education or something like that. They could say that याद घर की आए तो लेज ही खाए, something like that. Because they have made the taste as a blend of spices from the cuisine.
Yeah. Okay. Considered. Have you decided which field you want to go in for MBA?
I have been working as an accountant, so and I really liked it over there as compared to the operations intern and the social media thing. So I was thinking of finance.
Okay. Can you tell me what is IRR and NPV?
No, I cannot.
Okay. Can you tell me the difference between GAAP and IFRS?
Gap is the general account. I don't know the difference between both of them. Sorry.
Okay. Which system do we follow in India for accounting?
I think IRS.
No, it's GAAP. Uh, okay. Can you tell me what are the three income statements?
Three income statements. No, I cannot.
Okay. I think this would be it for the interview for now. For the feedback, firstly, prepare your internships really well because
Yes, sir.
they will ask you internships because you are a fresher. It will come in your questions. And also, when you're saying accounting and you are saying social media intern, know that what KPIs are used. Even if you have not worked in those, you don't have to tell them. You have to sell your work as what you did was the most important thing that you had to do for that particular business. Otherwise, the business would not have worked. You
Okay.
have to put it like that. So you need to know certain KPIs. For example, what is bounce rate? Just don't give them the number. Just maybe you can say that you were not informed that much of what the bounce rate was and how it worked out. But you should know the definitions and you should know some KPIs just to mention, even if they were not being used by the company. So you can just search KPIs for social media, SEO management or something like that. You will get a lot of rates. For example, there is bounce rate, there is click through rate, and things like that. You need to know what those are. Learn at least five of them. And after that,
Okay.
expenditure, whatever questions that I asked you from academic background, you will be asked all of these questions. So I had my interviews that
Okay.
the way they used to ask me questions was two questions from marketing, two questions from economics, two questions from uh, accounting, and then they would again circle back to economics. Then it was a very mixed bunch of questions from all different fields. So it
Okay.
was not just one thing. So being a fresher, you need to revise all those things because in BBA, all those things are taught. Every matrix that I asked you, BCG matrix, what are
Yes.
everything that I asked you basically, Porter 5 courses and STP, all those things are very basic and you get to learn these in BBA. And after that, when you said finance, with finance, you have to make sure that you know the basics of finance because accounting is very different from finance. The kind of
Yes.
jobs that you get with finance is very different from the accounting that we do. With finance, things like IRR and NPV and things like valuation come into force. So you need to know those when you are saying finance. But when you're saying accounting, that you did accounting, you need to know what all things are there in accounting. For example, three income statements was a very basic question. It was a very basic question. And when I'm asking you the balance sheet template, start from the top. Name of the company, as in on, then just give it in pointers form. Balance sheet template is just name,
Okay.
as in on, uh, assets, liability, shareholders, funding. And then if
So
the
I don't have
interview
to define the assets and liabilities.
No, if you see the interviewer is waiting for you to say more, then go ahead into saying that in assets all these things are there, in liabilities all these things are there, because there are chances when you go in depth of it, you might get nervous and you might give wrong answer, or the interviewer might lose interest. So give them exact point to point answers what they have asked. And when I
Okay.
mentioned you balance sheet template, starting from the top is not asset, starting from the top is name of the company, then
Yes.
the date, and then everything. So the template should have all those things. And after that, I would just say that go through your theory. It is very
Okay.
important. Being a fresher, you have to revise everything. Okay, revise your subjects really well, and whatever you are saying, finance, if you want to say finance, learn a few words about it. Learn a few words that are being used in there. After that, your accounting also, you need to revise your accounting really well. Maybe operations you can skip a little, because operations is something which is not taught that much in depth in BBA as well. And whatever work you have done, you can just tell that. And there are not a lot of, they don't consider you to basically know theory of operations. I've never came across any interview, even I've given my internship interviews now. So they never ask me anything theory from operations. They ask you what work you have done in operations, and in every other subject, they go into theory of that. Be it accounting, be it social media, be it marketing, be it sales, they go in the depth of it. And if you're saying social media marketing, no marketing also.
Okay.
Because as a BBA student, you are already considered to know those. Also, know the GK of your state. If you don't know some answer, try to, in political terms at least, try to say that you don't know the answer. If you're saying Mayawati, don't say that just because you think. If you're not sure, just say that I don't know the answer. And know the first women chief minister of your state, know the vice president of your country, know all those things. The GK, at least the basic GK should be very clear. So with UP, a lot of things come into picture, like UP has bicameral legislature. UP has the maximum number of seats in Lok Sabha. What is the current number of seats in Lok Sabha? What are the number of districts that UP has? Even till that level, I have been asked questions. The number of districts in your particular state, at least. So you need to know the CMs. You need to know 5 CMs from Uttar Pradesh. You need to know at least 5 CMs with their states who are currently there in power, and different ministers as well. Okay. I think that would be it. Otherwise, you are very confident in saying. Just frame your answer in a bit formal way. If you know the answer, just don't say that I know the statement. I need to make a statement. Just say, can you give me 30 seconds to reiterate my answer, to build my answer?
Okay.
Say it in a very formal way, because you are going for a B school interview. They are basically, they are trying to find students who are sitting here right now to go directly for interview in companies, because the moment you enter, you will be given companies to interview for your internship. So in your internship, they are expecting you to be a corporate level person. So have very formal way of asking for time, formal way of saying that you know the answer, but you need some time to think about it. Put it in a very formal way. Every statement that you're saying should be very formal. I think that would be it. Otherwise, you're confident that the way you were talking, it was very confident.
Thank you. I'll try on the points.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so can we start with the GD practice?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll give 10 minutes and then I'll give the feedback to each one of you. Try to make it a little constructive and don't make it a fish market one. Okay, so the first topic for your GD is should alcohol prohibition be lifted from states in which alcohol is prohibited? Should alcohol prohibition be lifted from every state in India? So it's 7 right now. We'll be 9-7 right now. We'll be starting from 9-8.
Ma'am, can you please repeat?
The topic is, should alcohol prohibition be lifted from every state in India?
कब स्टार्ट, when to start में
Sorry?
स्टार्ट करने कब?
Hi, you can take 1 minute. Note your points down. Take some time to think about it. Okay, can we start?
Hello guys, good evening. According to me, there should no need to prohibited the there should no need to lift the prohibition from the alcohol from the states, because it is a very good thing, and it is very helpful for the
I agree with you, Saurabh. The government, when decided to prohibit alcohol in the states of in states such as Bihar, Gujarat, etc., the government must have taken in some kind of measures to determine that the alcohol needed to be prohibited.
I
But
totally
Harshita, do
agree
you
with
know that
Harshita.
in Gujarat the alcohol is banned, but the most of the sales of alcohols are done in Gujarat, due to which we are losing the economic revenue around it. We are losing the opportunities which can be created. So I think that even if it is in black or if it is sold, the alcohol consumption is there. So why shouldn't we lift the ban from it and at least make revenue in taxes, generate employment, etc.?
Yes, I
Rhythm,
am
but at
agree
the
with
same
Rhythm
time,
and
Agree with it.
Saurav. We
Yes.
should not prohibited alcohol at all because it attract tourism. We can take example of Maldives. Maldives being a Islamic country, they allow alcohol and weed because it attracts to tourism. We should have limit about the alcohol as government is taking steps towards it. That's it.
I
Yeah, but
agree
how
with
can
Government has
alcohol,
already
I
government has
agree with
increase
already
the
Rohit.
tourism?
government has
tourism,
already taken
Like,
government
how
yeah,
has
can
already
alcohol
please
create
continue.
tourism
Yes,
or
Obviously,
increase tourism?
alcohol attract tourism in Udaipur, Rajasthan. Alcohol is not banned at all.
Bro, in
So
Udaipur,
Udaipur
bro,
and
people go
Mount
to
Abu,
see
it
the
is
lakes, not the alcohol.
not lakes,
I
see,
agree
most
with
of the
not
crimes in
lakes
India
at all, but
happen
they
because
also
of the
come for.
alcohol. That is
But
the fact. Most of the crimes in India happen because of the alcohol. And once a alcoholic person starts drinking, there's no restriction. You cannot just restrict him.
I
So
I'm
think
I don't
complete, yes,
think
I'm
that
I
what
completely
agree
is
with
you
agreeing
can
with
do
Soumya.
you.
hard
Alcohol is
Government has
becoming a
already
great
passed the
problem
law.
towards
Yeah,
today's
exactly.
teenagers even drink alcohol.
Yeah,
I
Harshita,
think
I
we do
totally
not
agree
have
with
need to
Harshita.
prohibition from alcohol because it's depends on various factors like social, cultural, economic, and in many states and health also. So I think
Yes,
it's
Pankaj.
not
At the
to
same
That's
Yes,
time,
exactly my point.
actually,
alcohol
Like, the
actually the
is that
consumption
government
is over
tourism.
there.
actually the
Now it
government
is
has
if it is in
implemented the
black
law.
or not.
Actually, the government has implemented the law while
and
while thinking about their pros, not the cons. So why we should? I think there should are more benefits for banning alcohol.
But Saurav, don't you think that there should be a balance between the pros and cons? If you only
and
look to the one side of the picture, then we'll miss the another side.
With
But
them, I
but
think
there is a
consumption of
and I
alcohol
don't
has
agree with
really
the
increased
Rhythm.
the rise in a disease called liver cirrhosis, which is alcohol consumption is a main
Harshita,
cause
I
of
do
it.
agree to you, but
but
we are just asking, like, either we should lift the ban or not, because consumption is there. Either you are going to buy it for cheap, or either you're going to buy in black.
But we can't say
People
it
buy
is
it in black,
There's
to buy
something
it
happening at the
responsibly.
state. What
It's not
Guys,
should
I'm
something which
happen?
is
talking about the
prohibited in the
facts. The consumption is much higher in Gujarat than Rajasthan for alcohol.
pro.
yeah.
And
Actually,
there
Gujarat
is
share
and
no
alcohol
data
is
that
banned over there.
alcohol is too
got
much higher in consumption in Gujarat. On which basis you can say, Rhythm, that
yes.
the
Do you
alcohol
have any
consumption is too
source? Do
much
you
The
have
in
any
Gujarat?
official
Bro,
news
point
the
Do
of
you
data
have
data
any
which are
data?
published
you
Are
want to
you
over
share?
sure
times into
about
the
it?
newspapers.
Not news, but there is
Not
no specific
newspaper.
data about it. No specific
Bro, in
about
newspaper, there
data.
are
No.
data which are published many times that the alcohol consumption of Gujarat has reached this, has reached that. And in Gujarat, there
Actually,
is a particular
Do you
dominant
have
beer.
any? Do you have
actually
any data
the
in which position Gujarat in consumption of alcohol, and in which place Rajasthan it is, and which state it has
actually
too much?
there is no prohibition of alcohol in a Delhi state, and there is a prohibition in a Gujarat, and both are doing good in their way. So I don't think that we should prohibit lift the prohibition from the Gujarat because they are considered something, because it in that case earlier there was so much cases regarding the alcohol that were coming out from there. So that is why they imposed the ban of on the sale of the alcohol. Not
And
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 To
even
sort
and
if
of
I
we
think
lift the
what we
ban,
can do
even if we
instead
prohibition
lift,
of alcohol is depends on we can awareness in public and policy making, and we get a balanced solution of prohibition or not prohibition
But
in the
Pankaj,
public.
awareness most of the time does nothing. There are awareness, there are
yes,
taglines on tobacco
yes,
packets that
very
can
famous
it
But
person
causes
we
But
Mukesh.
cancer, but that does
Harshita, do
not
you
do
really
it.
think that
yeah,
if something is
actually,
banned
I
over a
agree.
place, then
but
the
we
consumption is
can
not there?
See,
get a
Do you
an
balanced
really believe
You
this?
solution of
need to
alcoholic
consume it.
person,
If it
he
is
won't
banned,
think
then
that
not all of them.
Okay,
an
Sorry,
alcoholic
continue.
let's
person is an alcoholic person. He won't read or anything or else and read about the awareness. Okay, he is alcoholic, he'll drink, and you cannot restrict it.
Either it
So
is
what we
Children
prohibited
can
or
do
should be
is
not,
let
limited
us
he
of
would
drinking
have
set
so
alcohol.
okay.
limitations to
alcohol.
the timings of
Soumya,
Also,
it.
due
Soumya,
to
you
it,
are saying that if someone is doing wrong, let them doing wrong. We should
No,
not take
no.
actions.
Saurabh, what I'm
Yeah, that
saying
is
is
what
that
I'm
if
saying.
we have
Restrict it.
lifted the prohibition,
Like,
at least we
don't.
should have control over it. Now, what is going over there, like, people are having that, kachi sharab, like, which is termed over there, due to which a lot of people are dying. So don't you think that we should, lift the prohibition? At least we can save some
No,
of the lives.
Okay,
okay,
if
Apart
we
if
from
lift the
apart from
prohibition,
buying
then
poor
more
alcohol
people
in
people,
will
You
black,
are
be
what
saying
they
doing.
that
do,
if
they
we
actually
lift
have
the
chances,
prohibition,
okay, to drink
Guys,
legally. So that is
apart
not
from
something
apart
good.
from buying alcohol in black, I think the prohibition should be uplifted because uh, people are buying in black either this way or that way, and since
yes,
in
Shubh, you are absolutely
Just
right.
see,
Yeah,
Also, they
I
are buying the
agree with
cheap
you
quality of
that
so
alcohol,
through the
if
any
economic
someone is
and
cheating,
tax
okay, you
They are
won't
revenue.
just
making
end up saying
alcohol.
cheating is okay. If someone is cheating in exam, you won't say that okay,
No,
everyone is cheating, so then
I'm
cheating
actually
is good.
saying that if the person is buying in black, he's the first point, he's actually paying the double the price, and also he's following many
Shubh, you are considered
different
only the
ways.
economic factor. You are not considered the social factor because ban
Saurabh,
imposing
I
a
am considering the
We
social
can
factor as well,
actually
and
we
what I'm saying
be
is that if
considering
you
the
lift the
social
ban,
factors. We can
at
actually
least they would
educate
have good
people.
quality of alcohol. They do not have to
Yes.
So
buy
is
it
there
from the
any quality
villages
of
which are,
alcohol?
okay,
providing cheap
listen.
alcohol due to which they are
Yeah.
dying.
Okay,
So
do you
what is the
have
good
any
quality? Rhythm, according to you, what
Quality
is the
of
good quality
alcohol
of
is
At
alcohol?
least in which we know
no,
the
no.
how much the
You're
content of alcohol
diverting
it
from
is.
the topic.
okay,
Quality of
So
actually there
who
is
will
no
decide
ban.
about it? What is the good quality and bad
Sure,
quality?
sure, Rohit. So do you know, like, I know
Okay, we are
you
not
all have
Okay,
had
discussing
listen.
about the
Bacardi,
qualities of
right?
alcohol. There was
Which
some
is
Rhythm,
other thing
8% of
about
alcohol.
rhythm. Actually,
rhythm. The topic was
let's
something
compare
else.
it with the
Yeah, we are
Delhi
diverting
example.
from the topic.
Let's compare it with the Delhi.
Okay,
Okay, there is no ban. There is no ban of a Delhi. No ban on alcohol on Delhi. But
okay.
there are also so many cases related to the poison alcohol. So how can we control that if we lift the ban
Okay,
and the
okay, guys.
poison control is also can be more and
हो गया
less?
भाई हो गया
Okay.
Yes, rhythm crime rate in Delhi is very
Yes,
high.
complete. Yes, हो गया
Okay,
जीजी हो
okay.
गया
So, firstly, it was good, and you guys handled it. This is the kind of GDs that you might not face during your MBA admissions, but these are the kind of GDs that you'll have for your internship interviews, even worse than that. In cases like that, I would firstly say to Pankaj, Shubham, and Prakhar, you need to make your way to say your point, because people sitting there are competing for every single place. Nobody is going to give you a place to talk. You need to push yourself in. You need to raise your voice sometimes to make yourself heard.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And after that, coming to rhythm. Firstly, when you're coming directly with your first point on a firstly in situations like this, don't try to put your points uh, against one place. So Gujarat is not the only place that has alcohol prohibition. Bihar also has that, but nobody talked about that. Bihar also has alcohol prohibition, and you should have talked about that also. And pointing out just one place is not the right thing to do, because your interviewer at any given point in time and whenever you're giving your interview could be from Gujarat and could hold you against that, even if you have your facts straight. So you need to mention it in a very diplomatic sense that wherever alcohol is prohibited, we read it in the newspaper that the alcohol consumption is more in those states as compared to the states where alcohol is not prohibited. Alcohol is sold legally. So you need to put it in that way. You don't have to target one state or two states for that matter.
Yeah,
And
ma'am.
then you were putting in a lot of controversial points, I would say. Don't try to go in the politics. Don't try to go against anybody. Don't try to go against a state, because there are a lot of reasons somebody could like Gujarat. They could be their hometown. They could have n number of reasons to like that place. And the bias will come in the picture and it will look bad on your part. Then don't compare states. Just compare it. When I'm saying alcohol prohibition in states, compare states in generic sense. Don't point out
Okay,
fingers to
sure.
Rajasthan has less, Gujarat has more, nothing like that. And then just make sure that you are putting your controversial points properly. And when you are questioning somebody, don't question somebody just like that. Uh, Put it in a formal way. So I don't remember who you were questioning to, but put your questions in a way that if I may ask you.
Okay.
So that portrays a better formal picture of asking
So
a question
politely I have
during the
to ask
GD.
the questions.
Yeah, you need to ask
Okay, got it.
politely. Otherwise, it looks that you know what is the right thing and the other person is saying wrong, and you're trying to prove somebody wrong. You're not trying to prove anybody wrong. We're just having a discussion. So
Got it.
put your points formally. Ask your questions formally. Then, Saurabh, you said you started with "Hey guys." Never do that. Hello everyone. It's a formal
Okay.
setting. Hello everyone. Then good morning, good afternoon, whatever. Hello everyone. You don't have to introduce your name. If anybody did, I did not take note of that. If anybody introduced themselves with the name, you don't have to do that. If it is a offline GD, then you might have to say your name because they don't have your name showing up. But if it is online, you have your name coming up. You don't have to tell your name. Then think of the first statement. The moment you started, the person who is starting the GD has a very upper hand in that situation. So when you are saying hello everyone, have a statement prepared. Just don't rush into starting the GD because you have heard that whoever starts the GD has a upper hand. It might be the second person, it might be the third person, no matter what. I have had GDs where I have started at fifth and sixth position out of 8 people and still I've cleared those GDs. So does not matter where you are starting.
Okay, ma'am.
You should have a good point. That's it. After that, I think that's it. Start your GD in the right way and be formal. Nothing else. Then coming to Hashita, you had good points. You were putting in good points and formally. Just don't say yeah. Try avoiding it because in the GD, I know it comes in and they try to avoid it, but just if you can, try to avoid it. Nothing as such. And don't use medical jargons a lot because the problem that you mentioned is not very common one. So it might attract attention or it might look little know it all on your part. It might come off in both the ways. It might be beneficial for you also, and it's a very difficult place to be in. So just mention that it leads to a lot of problems. It leads to a lot of medical ailments. Okay, and then rest was good. You were putting in good points. Just put your points, like I mentioned to Rhythm, put your points in a way that even if you're opposing somebody, don't oppose that it looks like you're proving the other person wrong. Just say that this is your point, but I think in my opinion, use words like this in the GD. Every time use words like this in the GD. This is for everyone. In my opinion, according to me, all these things. In every case-based answer, even in interviews, in my opinion. If you don't know anything, in my opinion, works the best. Okay, then coming to Rohit. You mentioned a very controversial point that Maldives is an Islamic nation. Don't do that. Don't do that because you don't know everybody. You don't know who is sitting on the panel. You don't know their names. You would not realize in that moment. Don't go to religious side of things because it's a very tough place to be in. You will be roasted by the panelist
Okay,
in
ma'am.
that moment because you are see, honestly, it's not even about favoring one particular religion or not. You are going to be in a business school. So in a business school you are supposed to have a very fair ground you all are equal. You should not have that religious bias. You should not have that cultural bias in your mind. Because if they realize it even for a millisecond that you cultural or religious bias, it gives a very bad impact on the corporate level also and on the B school level also. It
Okay,
should
ma'am.
not come in any way. Any kind of bias should not come. And when you're opposing somebody, put your words in a better way. I think you have a good point, but I would like to put some light on this aspect as well. Consider this aspect as well. Consider this side as well. Say things like that to show your point that is opposite. Okay, and then with Soumya, you were the first one who started to go against the statement that there should be prohibition. Okay, but see, all of you did not consider the taxes and did not consider the economic side of it. So you all went in the aspect that it's good, alcohol is good or bad. But if you go in the depth of it, alcohol is actually giving states a very big share of their income, states' income comes from alcohol consumption. So anybody of you could have also said that states should use that money to develop so that there are more jobs and people are more literate to understand how to use the alcohol, how to consume alcohol in a better way. So instead of saying that your point was right, I'm not saying your point was wrong, it's for everybody. I'll come to you. It's for everybody. Some of you should have put that the economic side of it also. If you are seeing in a GD that somebody is talking only about the ethical aspects of some point, go on the economic aspects also. Go on the business aspects also, because you are giving an interview for a business school. So go show them that you have a business mindset, that you understand that although alcohol consumption is bad, but because you are in business, you might end up in a company that sells beer. If you have such a strong opinion and we have companies coming in. I gave interviews for so many of breweries and so many of companies that sell alcohol. So in those situations, you need to have a business mindset that consuming alcohol is okay, but when it is done at a level that is when the consumption is in the right way, and if the state is developing, so show them the business aspect of it as well. That it is giving money, it will help people become literate, and if people are literate, they will know the better how to consume alcohol in a better way, and they can be taught, they can be told about their rights, things like that. And with Soumya, you had a good starting point because you were the first one who started to go against the statement. So start it like highlight that fact that you are the first one. So say that your point is right, but I don't agree with. I would like to disagree with the statement. Don't say don't. I would like to disagree with the statement because then give your point. Because that will, when you say I would like to disagree, it will immediately bring the interviewer's attention to you that you are giving some new point. So you'll have an upper hand. Say things like that. Okay. And when you're making a serious point, you had good points. When you're making a very serious point about, I think you said something about alcohol being used in the wrong way and it leading to deaths and things like that. So when you're making a serious point or it being a problem in the households, in lower households, I think you
Ma'am, I
mentioned
said
something.
mostly about crimes in India happen mostly
Yeah,
because of
crimes in India. Yeah, okay. Crimes in India. So when you're making a serious point, don't smile and give the serious point. Because you're talking about crimes and deaths and things like that. So give it in a very serious tone that it's a serious thing. Facial expressions, be
Correct.
sure of it. Okay, I think I've covered everybody. Just to rest all of you, pitch in your points. You need to raise your voice to give your points. Okay. Should we go for another one?
Yeah,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
how to start a
Yes,
GD?
ma'am.
How to start a GB? Honestly, see, I've never started a GB.
Me too.
I have never been somebody who has started a GD because
It was the first GD of my life.
this was the first GD.
Because college placements may directly went to personal interviews,
Yeah.
and हमेशा I've given personal interviews, so it's always been that like that.
कल भी तो एक GD हुआ था.
भाई कल था नहीं ये
कल I wasn't
अच्छा
there.
कल था नहीं. Okay.
I worked till 9 p.m. so I wasn't able to join again.
रिदम मेरे आवाज कैसी थी कल
Who
रिकॉर्डिंग
all are you expecting
सही थी, अच्छी थी.
cappers?
What did you say?
who are
Cap calls.
expecting cap calls.
Who all are you? Who all are expecting cap calls?
I am.
But see, in any B school that you go, you'll just have 1 month, literally 1 month to adjust in the scenario, and then they'll start with your placement processes. So it's going to be, you need to learn about GDs and PIs right from here, and this is the only thing that is going to help. Whatever you prepare right now will come handy during that time as well. Okay, so so somebody asked me like how to start the GD. Starting the GDC, you need to have a very solid point prepared. As I mentioned that to somebody, that have a I mentioned to Saurabh, have a very solid point prepared. At least have a whole statement prepared, if not a very solid point. Because if you if you end your sentence midway, or if the interviewer or anybody in the panel gets to know that you are thinking of the statement while saying, they'll not give you another chance. And it will give a very bad impact because you are starting without knowing something.
Okay, ma'am, what should be the first statement, like I want to start a GD on this topic, or as a board member, like that first line before making the point?
In my opinion, anything like in my opinion,
Okay,
like
in my
for
opinion.
alcohol
Yeah,
prohibition,
got it.
in my opinion, alcohol prohibition is not a bad thing, and it brings in money to a lot of states wherever it's present. So why not ऐसा करके मतलब something like
Okay,
that? You
done.
need to prepare the sentence, in my opinion. Okay. So for the next topic of GD, it is GDP. Wait, I'll write it in the chat box. It's a long topic.
रिदम अब थोड़ा सा
You
क्या
have 1 minute to prepare for this, and then we'll start. Okay, should we start?
hello guys hello everyone. In my opinion, there is no effect of GDP right metric to a considered for a country's growth as a whole, because everyone are doing their own work without knowing. Most of them are not know what is the real amount of the GDP of the country. So they are all doing their own work without considering the other things. So I don't think this is going to matter the growth of the country.
Yes, Saurav, I am also agree with you. GDP may be a good metrics, but not at all, because it does not consider per capita income and the employment rate and the livelihood, and that's it. And it is being if we say few of the countries which are in top 10 in GDP criteria, but they are still in our developing nation, and they are still struggling to making a good position as a per capita income and the fulfillment of that population in that country.
Actually, yes, I'm
So
also
But
agree.
Rohit, I would like to disagree with you, because
Rohit, I
GDP
beg
is
to
a primary
disagree.
metric which we use, which explains us the goods and the products consumed in the country. So it is the primary metric which we have. So according to, to note a growth of a nation, I think GDP would be the first one, would be the main one.
Okay,
I
now
would
I
I
agree
agree
with your
agree
with
point.
with
In
not
our
the
I would
first
agree
one,
with
and
Ridham.
in
it's
India,
Because
also other aspect.
GDP actually helps us calculate the amount of goods produced, amount of goods produced in a country, right? And GDP per capita is also a very key metric in calculating the amount of goods produced and how the consumption is being done in the country, right? So let's say, okay, Rohit, you said that top 10 countries are like we cannot say much about them. So if you just take the first 5 countries, right? Their GDP is really high, and they are close to being developed nations. They are developed nations, and India is the biggest, largest developing nation, right? So that is how you calculate a GDP as
Actually,
to how people are
But
progressing.
actually,
we must focus on per capita of GPD. If we per capita of GDP, if we see the per capita of GDP, we can see the most of the European countries and American countries apart from that, and still they are not big countries, not big population, and not too much export and import, but they are good in the livelihood of every person and each person of that country. So
actually,
I
I
think
I
don't know.
totally
I
agree to you,
GDP
but
is not only aspect and per capita also, and I think it apart from GDP as the Human Development Index, employment rate, poverty rate, corruption index, and health assessment, education level. We should know about all the aspects and not only depend on GDP.
I
Pankaj, I
have a one
totally agree to
question.
you,
I have
but
a
you know,
one
at
question.
least
If
we should have
anyone
an
can
idea
answer,
of how much the gross domestic product of the country is, like how much the goods and the services are consumed in the country. By
Exactly.
that way,
just
you
for
Shubham,
can analyze the
the
spending of the
yeah,
country, consumption of the country, and then you can, relate how big it is.
I don't
yes,
know
it
how
is.
many
So I'm
of
not
you
saying
guys
it's the
know.
only one, but it's the primary one.
I don't know how many of you know, but there are three ways of consider making measure the GDP: income method, expenditure method, and value added method. And
This is the
I
national.
don't know. I don't think all you guys know. All three methods are the considered are very different values when we use different formulas. But every formula has different value. Then how can we can
It's
get
not the
which is
topic
the
of how
good,
to
which is
calculate
not?
GDP.
Every data is
This method are used
But
into
national income,
calculate
it is
national
method of
income, not
national,
GDP
but
at
there
all.
are
not
very
GDP, bro. It's national income. These
Yes,
three
See,
methods.
when we
Saurav, I totally agree with you. Like you want to share how the GDP is calculated, but we
I
are
do
discussing,
But this is
actually
not
not
the
the
can we,
calculating.
define a country with the GDP, with the
Actually,
metric
I'm
of
not only
GDP?
the focusing on the calculating. I am also focusing on the value that we get from the different formulas are different in developing nations. It can be a same. It has to be same for the developed nation. But when we consider to our developing countries, it is a very in a very different formulas. Then how can you say that according to this the we have for this per capita income when we consider to the another formula like expenditure formula, and according to this actual expenditure formula we
Okay,
have
so
this per
Saurabh,
capita income.
I think you are a bit off
you
topic.
are.
You are a
yes,
bit off topic. I would like to help
It
you with
went to
this
the
because
definition of
the
GDP.
GDP, since GDP, the method GDP is world recognized and every
yes,
country follows it. It helps us to know how much the goods are produced in the country and
actually
everything.
actually
So
question is
See, I
GDP
totally agree
metric?
with you, Shubh.
and
Actually
I
the
think
point is
GDP
metric.
should not be primary to get about the growth of the company, because in GDP we can get the information about it, but we do not say at all that this country is really growing or not growing at all, because
Rohit, I would
But
like
Rohit,
to
by GDP
make
only
you
you can
aware
say if
of
the
the
country is
topic.
growing or not. If the consumption is growing, then you can say that also, like the GDP is also growing with the country. But when you're going
But
for the per capita income, per capita income can be increased, but the overall GDP of the country can be reduced in that way.
So another point that Rohit,
but if the
I would
GDP
like
is
to add to
reduced,
the point that the topic we have for GD is it's the right metric, not the only metric,
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
right? So GDP, everyone uses GDP. Let's say we have a country. Let's say we have a country like Fiji. It's a small island, right? And the GDP there is low, but still the GDP per capita still marks a good growth sign for a country, right? And there is a country like a Vatican City. It might be having a very high GDP, but we might not know much about it. But we can still follow how GDP is calculated and know how a country is growing.
but
yes,
how
I
it is
totally agree,
considered to the country growth as a
I
whole?
totally agree.
Actually point is this: how it is considered to be country growth as a whole, because at the end everyone, I don't know,
yes,
but most of the
how
people are
yes,
don't know about their GDP of the country, and they are still
Buddy,
doing
but they do
good.
not know, like, but do not want to know about the GDP.
Okay,
Like
so
if I'm growing for myself, why should I
every
care with
country
the GDP?
considers GDP to track their growth. See, for example, if I take example of India and China, 20 years back, China's and India GDP was something same, but now it is approx like 6-7 times more than India. So that is how
Actually,
we can
Shubh,
assess
you
that
are correct,
China's
bilkul you are
GDP is
right,
better
but
than
the
India.
point
We have
is
to work.
okay,
but
Saurav,
their
we
per
are
but the
saying that
capita
point is
income is
GDP is the
considered
also
to
right
the
metric
increased.
for
growth as
country,
a
not for
whole.
the
GDP is not only
individuals.
metric, I
As
think.
to
GDP is
consider
not
this
the
is a country's
GDP
growth
is
as a
not
whole,
only right
not
metric.
Guys,
Sorry.
another point, more than considering whose GDP is more and whose is less, we need to calculate what metrics are being considered that contributes to GDP. Let's say China has much more of a manufacturing side of it, so it contributes more. India has more of a services. We export service. We have an IT service industry. If we move towards the manufacturing, if we push more
India
towards
is actually
sustainable
a more
energy,
agriculture
it
sector
will
and
contribute more
industrial
to the
sector.
GDP, and
Prakhar, we
that
are moving
shows we
towards the
need.
Yes, that is
manufacturing,
that
and
is
Yeah,
why
that's
so
why
moving
our
towards
GDP is growing.
manufacturing.
we can access that where we have to work,
Access
where
points,
yes,
critical
Right.
points, exactly, in
yes,
the
where we
countries.
have to work and where we have to like we know that this is a strong point and this is a weak point, and we
Right,
Actually,
have
I
to
have
work on
right.
also
it.
one different point of view considered to this. I actually, when we consider, if we know the right GDP of the country, we and also can choose a policies related to the in the favor of the country, which is also very helpful.
But what about GDP if the company if the country's 20 to 30% people are not able to buy their products, and if GDP is high,
Bro, as
then
per
Yeah,
the
I
last
agree
report
with
which
GDP
we
Rohit.
is
had,
Different.
very high.
the
I think that should that is deviating from our topic. It's
Yes,
we
right.
are calculating as a metric to know the country's growth rather than dividing it into levels as to who is the top 1%, who is the bottom 10, and then start
exactly.
Also, I
uh,
want to highlight one point, like
calculating
as
on
the
that.
GDP is growing, there was the report which was published for the annual year 2020 to 2023, like the 19% of the India which was into the lower birth, sorry, into the BPL category has lifted up. So as the
Yes,
country is growing, the liftment is also there,
correct.
So that is what motivates the country to work towards
right?
Okay, let's
betterment.
guys
We should have a
let's
parameter on which we can
Yes,
compare ourselves from different countries.
yes, exactly.
Exactly.
okay guys
So,
let's
we must
Mrs.
have
The
we are
Finance
we are running
Minister
out
of
of
I
time.
India.
think let's we conclude it
Yeah, we are running out of
and the
time.
solution.
So another point, like recently in Gujarat, there has been um, government was involved. So there, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, the Finance Minister of India, she said that we are envisioning India in 2047 that we want to be a 30 trillion GDP. So definitely, the Finance Minister of India is taking it as a metric to measure the growth of the country. So I would definitely like to conclude that it is an important metric, not
So
the
it is an
only, but an
important metric,
important
but
It is
not
metric.
the
definitely
only metric which
not
we
a
have.
Yeah,
So
whole
that's
it's
metric.
completely
important,
wrong.
not only. Yes,
yes.
We
I
should
agree
also
with
have
you.
the
We cannot
parity
depend
of
Should
only on
income,
also the
GDP.
corruption index, health
Okay,
but it's the
assessment,
that
main
will be
factor and the primary factor.
yeah,
it for the GDP.
employment rates.
Okay guys,
Uh,
हो गया भाई, हो
Soumya,
गया.
can you please summarize the GD for me in 3 lines?
Yes, ma'am. So basically, they said that GD is an important metric, but not the only metric that should be considered. While there are other metrics as well, but GDP is an important one, but it should not be considered as the only metric for calculating the growth of the economy for calculating the growth of the country as a whole. There were certain points for the topic and against the topic, but at the conclusion, we were like that it's important, but not only metric, because there are other important metrics as well.
Okay. So, first thing, I would start with you only. When I'm asking 3 points, or anybody, 3 points, 2 points, 1 point, just give 3 points precisely. Explain it later if you see the interviewer is still wanting to know more about it. Otherwise, give it in 3 lines precisely. Aside from that, Harshita, why did you not speak at all?
Ma'am, first of all, I did not have many points. Second of all, I was told to make points if I did not have many points. But then all of them were stating facts, so I was unable to make points of it all as well.
Ma'am, at the
Please.
same time, what about the topics we have like little to no idea of? Like economy is not one of my favorite topics to discuss. So what
And
about the
technical
topics we
pointers
have
were also
little to
there.
no idea of?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
the
So this
technical
was the
point
thing
also
that we were
sufficient.
told to make points of it all,
Yeah,
but they were all stating
how,
facts, so we couldn't just say that again.
how to build on points.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So, see, firstly, to build on points and build on points like GDP, no matter how much you hate economy, I myself am not a very big lover of economy and politics, but as long as you don't get in the B school, and after getting in the B school, as long as you don't have your internship in your hand, you need to know about economics and politics. There is no shortcut to it. At least know the basics. Even if you don't know the current affairs, read the theory of it. So at least when everybody's talking facts, you can bring in something like you can bring in some other pointer like, for example, with GDP, nobody mentioned that even if the GDP is increasing, the parity between the rich and the poor is also increasing in India. So maybe GDP is not the right metric. You could have said that. You
But
could
ma'am,
have
they
said,
all of them were going with the same thing, that GDP should not be the only metric.
yeah, so you can bring in points like, because you know the
Yeah.
theory, and it's a very general thing. I haven't read anything about the parity increasing between the rich and the poor, but it's a very, I mean, it's a very common, in my opinion, it's a very common thing. I think everybody would be agreeing with me that the rich and the poor parity in India is increasing a lot. So, and it's the fact also that the GDP is the addition in GDP is because the rich is getting richer.
Like
If
when
you
I
see
said
even
that there's top 1% and then the bottom 10-20%, we should not
yeah,
talk about it. So you could have like countered my topic. No,
yeah,
you are. I would like to disagree. There, the
yeah,
disparity is there, and it is not the best metric, I would
and
say. Yeah,
and
you
the
could have.
parity is
There was a
increasing
counter.
as the
Yeah.
as the GDP is increasing. We consider that India is going towards economic growth, but we should also see internally. And when you're talking about countries, talk about your country first.
Hmm.
You would know something about India. You would economics is there. We live in a place where everybody talks about economics and politics. So you would know something related to something. Say a theory about it. Say anything. For example, if you take the even if you take the definition of the formula of GDP, you will realize that there is we take the net exports, right? So you can take that in consideration that maybe the GDP is increasing because of the net exports. Maybe a country is relying more on the exports. That is why the GDP is increasing, which is again not good for the country. So there is no fact involved in this. You just knew the formula of GDP and you used it.
Okay.
Okay, so when you don't know about anything, firstly, politics and GDP, they would not ask you political. I've never come across anything, any GD where I have to put in political points. So that is not a big issue. Uh, with economics, you should read about
Sorry.
economics. You should know what is going on currently as well. Because with GDP, there is a big thing. World Trade Organization also. There's a lot happening with World Trade Organization. Know about it. With the GDP, the big thing is that I was reading one article the other day, and I just read one article. I'm not very active with the current affairs right now. But in that one article also, I got to know that people are buying more SUVs as compared to what
Normal
is the
hatchbacks or
normal
sedans.
hatchbacks. People are
Sedans.
buying more SUVs because the richer is getting richer. Then you'll understand it on your own because the rich is getting richer. They are able to buy SUVs, which is adding more to the GDP. But there are people who are getting poor also. So they are not able to buy those. Hatchbacks are not being sold that much because the middle class is not being uplifted. The richer is getting rich. So that way you can relate things. You'll start to relate things when you start reading one or two articles from here and there. Okay, and then Saurabh, you said a point that was I don't know how many of you know this. Never use that in a GD. Never
Okay.
use that in a GD. It gives a very bad impact. Other than that, it was okay. And rhythm, stay. Your whole face should be visible to the camera, not yeah. Go a little back. Yeah, it should be this. Don't when you're telling your point, don't come too close to the camera because when you're giving a point that is opposing or something, it would look a very attacking point. Which should not look defensive. It should not look attacking. It should just be your opinion, and you are considering other people's opinions. You are not taking it on yourself. You are not getting offended from anybody's statement. So put it very politely and aram se. Prakhar, you were giving very nice points. Just try to make it a bit precise because maybe in MBA GDs you would get the opportunity to say this much. In interviews after for your internships and things like that, you'll not get an opportunity to stay for this long. So try to put in your examples or try to put in your points in 30 seconds, 40 seconds to the max. Because the interview will also lose interest and people
Ma'am,
will cut you off in the middle.
30 seconds, I think would feel like much a longer time because I think I was speaking around 20-25. I just put my topic and then cutting off.
No, you
So,
were giving examples. That is what I'm saying.
okay.
You were giving very good points. You came in 2-3 times. That is a very good thing. It was a very good GD on your part. Just put in your points precisely in one statement, then start with the example. So even if somebody is cutting you, the interviewer knows your point already.
Okay.
Okay, and Pankaj, while the discussion was going on, somewhere you said bro. No, has to be very
Yes.
formal.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't do that. And Shubh, you were giving in points, unlike last time, but don't repeat the exact points that have been said. Even if you are repeating the points, uh, paraphrase it in such a way that it does not sound repeated. Change the statements entirely that it does not sound repeated to you. Anybody. I think that would be it. Rest all of you were good. You were giving in points and it was nice.
No, I have to ask one thing.
Yeah.
Like, when if someone is giving a like definition or the specific formula which is taking too long, so how to cut him?
See, you don't have to cut anybody. If somebody has
Yeah,
started
that's right.
talking, let them take their 20-30 seconds to speak. And if you
Like,
still think the
Saurabh was explaining the GDP and he took about a minute, I think.
yeah, so you
Seriously?
can
So
you
about
can
more than a
cut
minute, I guess.
see
GD is
No,
very
no,
fast.
no
There's
minute
nothing
in the
known as a
match.
minute. It's
Uh,
usually within 30 seconds a person is cut off.
also, what should we do if we don't know about the technical pointers which he's talking about? Like how to counter those?
see mostly you will not get those points. That will happen only in economics
Mm-hmm.
economic based GDs because they'll be talking facts and numbers. Other than that, in most cases, you will have something to say about. In ethical GDs, everybody has their opinion, so you can cut people off at any given point. With facts, if you don't know facts, there's nothing
Mm-hmm.
you can do. All
Right.
you can do right now is you're preparing, so you can prepare facts because everybody is preparing right now. I also started my GD preparation with current affairs in January itself,
मैम आई हैव
so
अ
it's
डाउट
not
मैम.
late for any of you. Yeah,
Got it.
मैम आई स्टार्टेड कि हमें जीडीपी के राइट मैट्रिक को
you're
हमें
not
कंसीडर.
audible. Can you please come close to the mic?
ओके मैम, मैंने ये बोला था कि अपना स्टार्टिंग का पहला पॉइंट ही मैंने ये बोला था कि हमें कंसीडर नहीं करना चाहिए क्योंकि उससे कंट्री एज अ होल पे फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. ठीक है. पर मेरे पास बीच में एक बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट आया था कि उससे फर्क पड़ेगा. तो क्या मैं उसको
Hmm.
बीच में बोलूं?
हाँ, yeah, you can.
आप खुद के टॉपिक को कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट कर सकते हैं क्या बीच में?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल because it's a discussion going on. It's
मतलब
not a
पूरा
debate.
इंस्टेंस ही चेंज हो जाए
तो
कि
फिर
बिल्कुल.
पहले
हम
बोले
उसको,
नहीं, अब बोल रहे हैं हाँ भाई होना तो
हाँ,
चाहिए.
तो हमें फिर कैसे
हाँ,
रिफ्रेस करें
because
उसको?
business school is like that. You have some
Okay.
opinion, but you were talking to a
Right.
group of people, and then you realize नहीं ये side भी है, and you agree with that side,
कि मैम पहले तो
which is
मैंने,
good. That shows your adaptability to things. Just show it in a
Okay.
way that I had this opinion, but with the discussion that my group had right now, I think I would like to add to their side as well. So this shows your shift in the stance, which looks good. There's no issue with changing your stance.
Okay.
मैम
You
एक्चुअली वो
could be
पॉइंट किसी
very
ने यूज ही नहीं करा था, इसलिए मैं सोचा था कि मैं
so
वो
you
भी बोल
can
दूं.
you can say that with the discussion that my group was having, I would like to, don't say I would like to change my stance, just say that with the discussion my group was having, I think I have this opinion as well. With the discussion, I have come to realize that and give your point. I have come to realize with the discussion and give your point. So put it in a way that the other person understands that you are changing your stance, and it's okay to change your stance in a GD, no issues. In debate, you have to stay fixated. This is my opinion and this is your opinion. We are fighting. In a group discussion, you're not fighting. You're just putting in your points, and then, like, collectively, you people came to a conclusion. It was a very good thing. So it was a very group-driven GT. It was good. Any other questions?
No, मैम.
Ma'am, what about the, like very weird abstract topics? Like I've heard one that pink pajamas over red fort. So this has like you can relate pink with women, you can relate red fort with the farmer laws protest. So multiple points random with no relevance to each other can come in. So how do
Yeah.
we tackle
Prakha,
that?
did you hear that from a Wellinger professor?
Nahi, nahi, Wellington, it's like a common because it's a very weird topic, so it is being surrounded everywhere. Now everyone knows basically, but still
Yeah.
it's a very topic that I would not be able to speak about probably. But how to
So,
tackle with those points?
see, what you can say is maybe what comes in my mind is that Red Fort is in Delhi, and Delhi had Delhi
Yes,
was one of the places.
we can bring
Delhi,
that point.
Yeah, so Delhi with women is not a very safe place to be in. So you can go in that direction. My mind is going in that direction,
Yes,
that pink pajamas and red fort means that a women in Delhi for
yes,
me.
correct.
So I
Okay.
would take the GD in that direction. It can be different for different people. So I had one of these topics, blue. I had it in one of my GDs. It was just a word, blue.
True. Mhm.
Yeah.
I've heard
So with
one black a few times back. Black. So
yeah,
we use it as fashion industry. It's very aesthetic. You can say it's very dark in terms of philosophy. In terms, yeah, in multiple sectors, you can relate it in different ways, right?
yeah, with blue, I would say one business thing. It's a good topic to read about as well, and it was asked to me a few times. There's a blue ocean strategy and a red ocean strategy. So there are companies that go for blue ocean strategy and red ocean strategy. So I put in the blue ocean strategy point in that. So it gave them that I studied about the business aspect of things as well, and I knew about it. So you can see I'm giving you a few topics randomly. You can read about aviation industry because a lot of conversation is going about aviation industry. Even in the B school, we have been doing so many projects on aviation industry. It's a big thing right now.
A
Uh,
sustainable sector,
no.
sustainable energy.
Sustainability in general, yeah, sustainability. Then there is the Vibrant Gujarat Summit. There is
I was not getting the word. I would have used the Vibrant Gujarat Summit words.
yeah,
Yeah, I was skipping out of it.
vibrant aviation industry. Vibrant Gujarat, Gift City. Gift City is a lot in conversation right now.
Yes, I've
World
read of.
Trade or yeah, World Trade Organization, and and I think that would be it if I
So
get to.
another topic, another point, like right now, let's say not everyone is from finance background, but someone who's interested, there's recently quarter three results coming in. And usually January is the time when quarter three results come in of companies for the equity market. So can topics from that come in?
No, they won't give any specific topics from GD. In GDs, you will always have topics that are ethical,
Okay.
philosophical, or economics related. There
And
will be no other domain.
another point, like right now, this has been very few years when India and US both have their, uh, let's say, central elections, government
Absolutely.
elections. So, good topics because like two countries, two strong countries are having at the same point. So, can a political point can come in,
Yeah,
right?
political point like that can come in. I have had people who have had election from states as well. So during that time, I don't remember which state elections were going on, but they had their questions based on that as well.
GD
So
questions, GD topics
I
based on
think it
politics.
come
elections, yeah,
also come that
yeah,
how elections are affecting the stock market. If you're going into the finance and you're going to share
yeah.
finance.
It can, but I have not had any GD, at least in the B
Hmm.
school interview GDs, I have never had anything related to a particular subject. In
Okay.
internship, you will have GDs that are very specific. If you're going for a marketing role, they will have marketing based GDs.
Marketing
If you're
GD.
going for finance roles, so there are companies that go for in a lot of depth of the GD, a lot of depth of the subject. So it depends on the roles that you're going for, but it's a problem for tomorrow. So don't worry about that. With B-School GD, it's mostly ethical, philosophical points, and maybe politics if it's a very new topic or a very important topic in general.
Also, can we
Right?
do one thing like whenever you're free, you can just take
Yeah.
a session of us for an hour and you can
Yeah.
tell us about several marketing strategies in brief. So it would be helpful for us. We'll get the,
Particularly for
topics
marketing.
like in whatever
And
domain
the
you like.
topics to study for
Right.
from graduation.
No, no, not topic from
Okay.
graduation because that would be different for a lot of us. BCom,
Each
BBA,
Okay.
BSc,
graduation is
BTech.
different.
I'm asking about the
So you
marketing. Like
want
if
me to
someone is
take a
saying
session
marketing,
on marketing?
yeah. So you can tell us about the strategies in brief, which we can highlight at that point of time and can have the advantage over there. So I think
Yes,
it would
in
be
GD and
good
PI
for
both.
us.
Okay,
In
I'll talk to sir about it. I'll do that.
Yeah, sure.
No issues.
हमें आप अपना बोल रहे मटेरियल बता रही थी कि आप मार्केटिंग
Sorry.
के लिए कहाँ से आपने बोला था कि आपने मार्केटिंग के लिए कहीं से प्रिपेयर करा था तो वो आप
Uh,
नोट शेयर करने के लिए बोल रही थी आप
हाँ
अब
हाँ
तो मैम से ही पढ़
मैं
लेंगे.
मतलब अगर if I'll take the session then it's the same thing.
Yeah.
If there's a problem that I cannot take the session then I'll share whatever
Yeah,
I
yeah.
Also, if you
Yes,
take the
ma'am.
session, then it will only take us 1 hour. But if you give us the material, then it would take us a lot of hours to research for it, then to study of it.
but research में ही you create
अरे you are
thoughts, you
right
get
प्रखर,
your
but you know there are
inputs.
lot of things यार, बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा है। अब जैसे मान ले
No
कोई
issues.
स्ट्रेटेजी अच्छी लगी तो उसके ऊपर अपन है ना सर्च कर लेंगे, पर अभी अपन
मैंने
सब
तो
पे
अभी
सर्च करेंगे
चालू
तो कुछ
की
भी
है
नहीं आएगा
GD, मेरी तो हालत खराब
भाई।
हो गई।
हमारा तो
I've
खुद
been
का भी यही है
teaching
यार।
with marketing. I don't have any issue. I've been teaching marketing since 2 terms to my batchmates
हाँ,
also, so
that's
it's
great.
not that big of a issue.
It's great.
Sure.
I'll do that.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Any other subject, please don't contact me. I'm not the best person for that. I can just
We'll ask
tell you
someone
what
for
to study.
finance as well. Do we have someone?
I'm not the right person for that.
Okay,
I can
sorry.
get you people for that. I can get
Mhm.
you people for that, but I might not be the right person. So I think we'll wrap up right now. If you guys have any questions, you can DM me as well. You have my number there. So no issues with that at any
Sure.
point. No any problems that you have. And okay, so I'll take your leave now.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you,
Good
Ashwin.
Good night.
Bye.
Happy Makar Sankranti. Happy Lori.
Same to you.
Happy Lori.
Happy Makar
Same to you.
Sankranti.
Happy Lori. Bye.
Bye.